Hey folks, I'm gonna see if this works. Mostly I haven't been making videos for a long time because my phone's been too full of mostly photos. And but anyway, lately my phone has, I think it's still pretty full, but somehow it's like acting like it's not as full, even though it basically has the same amount of stuff in it. So I figured I'd see if I could like get away with making a video and it would like let me actually do one. So far so good. Let's see what's new in my life. I confirmed that the Gobekli Tepe Vulture Stone Pillar 43 is a map of Northern America from like basically from Venezuela to Alaska and part of Greenland. So yeah, like it's good. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because like if we look at the oldest painted tomb in Egypt, that's a map of America, right? Or it's a map of America and other surrounding places. But it's, the centerpiece of it is America. I mean, that's like North and South America. This, the Vulture Stone is considered to be the most richly decorated, interesting, stela at Gobekli Tepe. It's in the oldest enclosure. It's about 12,000 years old. And so so yeah, it makes sense that, the same thing, since the Egyptian religion and Mesopotamian religion had a lot in common. It makes sense that you'd see the same thing. You'd see that America is the focus of their religion, just as it was for the Egyptians. The land of the gods, Netercher. So yeah, it's, I didn't recognize it for the longest time, really. I mean, I think I first started to think it might be that, like, I guess this year or maybe before, but I was confused by the fact that some of the shapes, because the islands are all retrograde, they're all flipped backwards, as it were. So, so that throws it off, and even their positioning is kind of flipped around a lot. So, so I kept thinking the animal that is Cuba was actually Greece and Thrace, because it was similar to some ancient depictions of Greece and Thrace, and its position vis-a-vis the other figures on the stela seem to potentially match other parts of the Mediterranean. But yeah, I realized that, I mean, I'll do a later video where I actually show it, because it's kind of hard to explain it very well without showing it. But like the birds that make up the mainland, like there's one that makes up the east coast of the US, and then there's one that makes up like the Gulf of Mexico from New Orleans to the Yucatan, and that's the vulture, who's the the namesake of the stone, the Vulture Stone. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if it's a vulture, but I'll just, that's what people say, is it's a vulture. Looks like some kind of bird like that. And so the Vulture itself seems to be basically North America, probably an avatar of North America altogether, even though, North America also contains the other bird that is the East Coast. But things can be multiple things. So like the vulture's stomach seems to be like Nicaragua and Honduras area, and then its feet seem to be like the Isthmus of Panama. So you know, so in that sense, yeah, it's basically all of North America and Central America. Um, or there's a good chance that even its whole body is a stand-in to represent the whole of North America and Central America. But even parts of its body are also other things. So like, it's it's like its feet are Panama, but Panama is also and like basically Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, El Salvador is like all contained within its feet, I suppose. And well, not Nicaragua, I guess. Yeah, I think Nicaragua is the stomach, and then it would be Costa Rica and Panama would be the feet. But Panama is also another animal. So because the west coast of Panama has like a big peninsula, so that's treated as like the head of a bird whose body is maybe South America, or at least northern South America, and Panama being its neck and head. And then Costa Rica and northern Panama are also shown as another avatar, as like a feline, or no, a canine, wolf or dog or something. And that one's flipped retrograde. And then and then like Western Nicaragua is shown as a snake, it seems. So these things are all multiple things, just because one avatar represents one place doesn't mean another avatar doesn't include also parts of that place. So that's why I suspect that the vulture represents all of North America, even though there's also the other large bird in North America that represents the East Coast. It's kind of like a crane, maybe, or some bird with like a long ass beak, which is Delmarva. So anyway, so yeah, basically the New Orleans, the North America one, its beak is New Orleans, the New Orleans Peninsula, which is the the delta for the Mississippi River, and then Delmarva Peninsula is the beak for the East Coast bird, the crane or whatever it is. So anyway, it's exciting. It's I mean, it is funny that I have been looking at that stone for years and years, and it took me this long to figure out what the hell it is. But that's because it is very esoteric. It's not, it's certainly not made to be like a regular map where it just looks like a regular bird's eye view of the geography. Like it's an ancient, pagan esoteric map, which, you can't really use as to navigate unless you have the key, unless you understand what parts signify what and what parts are switched around, etc., etc. So it's extremely useful. You could navigate the planet with it, but only if you had the key, only if you understood, what parts are literally accurate and what parts are, moved around, flipped, symbolic. Um, so yeah, that's good. They say Gobekli Tepe is like the oldest temple on Earth. I mean, I suppose that's debatable. They also say that Brunikel Cave, uh, stalagmite circle, was the oldest temple on Earth. That's like 175,000 years old, I think. So Brunikel probably has Gobekli beat, and it was, seemed to have been made by Neanderthals, and the Gobekli Tepe builders seem to have been heavily Neanderthaloid hybrids, and they were using the same motif or format, like the structure of the Gobekli Tepe Stonehenge circles. I mean, it's the same as Stonehenge, of course, in England, but it's also the same as Brunikel Cave in France, the 175,000-year-old stone circle. Like two central pillars and then all the stones around in a circle. Could even relate to, Boaz and Joachim or whatever it's called, like the Masonic two pillars, which probably relates to the two pillars at Solomon's Temple or something like that. I know for the Freemasons, one of the twin pillars is the earth and the other is the sky. Or maybe one holds up the earth and the other holds up the sky. Like Atlas and somebody. But so that's exciting. Also found an ancient map, up to 13,000 years old, in the Amazon rainforest, which seems to depict the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea, and the Azov Sea, and like either the Don River or some other river around the kind of Ukraine-Russia border. So that's interesting. I'm sure that the Afro-Eurasia was quite sacred to the, pre-Columbian Americans, just as America was sacred to the pre-Columbian Afro-Eurasians. A lot of Amerindian traditions are about the underworld. And also found a cool Mayan avatar of Alaska recently, with Kodiak Island, depicted as with Alaska Peninsula being God K's kind of elephant snout, I suppose, and then the little anthropomorph accompanying him is Kodiak. So that one's pretty good. Has a lot of details that match up too well for it to be coincidental, I think. And what else have I found? Oh yeah, I found some cave paintings, like let's see, I found one that's of Papua and Australia, I think. It's an Ice Age European, French carving on a spindle whorl, I guess. And, it's about 15,000 years old. And so I think I might have already identified that a while ago, but I didn't focus on it too much, maybe. Could be wrong, but I feel like I already had made this identification sometime before and then kind of forgot about it and lost the photo in all my photos. But anyway, so that one's a good one. It shows like Australia as a bear, and then Papua as a man, seemingly like a Neanderthal or a Neanderthaloid hybrid. And basically corresponds to the Lusco Birdman versus bison scene, which I think also depicts Papua and Australia, and both seem to relate to the Gaelic tradition of Diarmid Macoduin versus the Great Boar of Gulban. So that's a good one. And I found what I think is the oldest, so the Gobekli stone showing America is my oldest map that I can really confirm is of America. It's 12,000 years old during the Ice Age. But the oldest map that I can confirm, or I'm pretty sure I can confirm as being Britain, is the Gobekli Sorcerer, also in France, where it's a cave painting of like a horned animal who's kind of humanoid in a sense, like in his body and posture, and also seems to be wearing clothes. So I think that's why he's called the sorcerer instead of just like a bison or whatever. He's called like bison-headed sorcerer. So it seems that the bison head is like northeastern Scotland. Like Caithness would be like the tip of the face, and then the horns being the Outer Hebrides, and also the whole part of the mainland which runs north of the Caledonian Canal. So I think like the Caledonian Canal, it's like runs east-west all the way across Scotland. But even before it was built, like it was mostly a canal. Like it was mostly basically this line of water connecting, or almost connecting the East Coast with the West Coast. And it really kind of looks like, somebody kind of chopped Scotland in half, and even part of it got kind of pushed to the side one way. And so it's like what they do in that avatar is they actually flip Scotland north of that retrograde so that its face is facing towards Ireland, where all of its arms are, because there's all the peninsulas of Western Britain that seem to resemble arms, especially Argyll, Knapdale and Kintyre. So yeah, that Knapdale and Kintyre are one of his arms, and then it seems that Isla and Jura are another one of his arms and hands and whatnot, or hoofs or something. And then like Galloway, Strathclyde, whatever, is like his knee, his bent knee that sticks forward. And then the Lake District seems to be his other knee that sticks out. So so that's good. It's exciting. It's like probably 15,000 years old or so. So it's much older than my other oldest map of Britain, which I think would be the Hierakonpolis Tomb 100 Egyptian, mural, which shows Britain as a stylized, like humanoid god, like holding 3 hostages, which seem to be Ireland, especially or with their heads being Ulster, Connacht, and Munster, and so it has the same arm as that avatar in the sense that that avatar's arms seem to be Argyll, like Knapdale and Kintyre. But other than that, it's pretty different. So that's pretty cool. I've been posting like these things around town in Santa Cruz. I posted that one, it shows like the cave painting. It says Gobekli Sorcerer. And then it shows like Britain, with the northern part flipped retrograde, or Scotland and northern Britain. And somebody like got offended by it, I think, because it says sorcerer, so they wrote like "fuck magic" in like black ink on the poll where I posted it. So that was pretty funny. And then I think somebody else got mad at them and wrote like "fuck you" or something. Anyway, I don't know. I get like some of these things, like I'll post them around town and people will set them on fire, like on the posts, because they think like, a lot of Christians really believe like anything that's not from the Bible is the devil. Like everything, all culture, all religion that ever happened is all the devil. So of course they gotta set everything on fire and shit. Fucking scum. Anyway, those are the main things. What else? Oh yeah, I think I found like a Native American avatar, like the Cahokia Birdman. It's like 1,000-year-old Illinois artifact, which I think depicts the shape of the Michigan's Upper Peninsula. That kind of has a long peninsula sticking out of the side of it that resembles like a really long kind of Neanderthal nose or something, Neanderthaloid nose. And so that's good. Been doing activism, brave and free stuff. I'm having to do the farmer's market just on my own because the people that bring the table stop bringing it. So I just have to go to the farmer's market and just stand there and pass out literature and whatever, but it's all good. I'm probably surrounded by feds as usual, a lot of fuckery in this town. But what can you do? I think this assassination of the CEO, the healthcare CEO, I think it's a psyop. I think that it's a CIA hit or something. I mean, they say that the CEO was about to testify about something, about corruption scandal or stock sell-off scandal or something. So it would have been convenient for them to kill him and make it seem like it's some socialists, and then they can use this to do a dragnet against radicals because the FBI is already trying to target people who are talking about it. They're already telling people to snitch on their social media friends who say things about it. And so be careful, I mean, I think they're not going to throw us all in jail if we liked a meme, hopefully. But, but obviously if you say something very illegal, then they might come for your ass. And this whole thing might be designed just to make people say kind of a leftist or a populist, economic populist version of January 6th, where they try to lure everybody into some kind of uprising and then put us all in jail. Could also be that they're actually trying to engineer a revolution. That's usually what the CIA does in every country, is try to engineer revolutions. But I don't really want to take part in a CIA revolution. Why don't they just do it themselves if they want to kill the CEOs or whatever? I don't know. There's so many psyops within psyops lately, but there's a lot of questions around that whole cover story of that event and everything since. And I just think that if it was real, if it was a real, just random guy that killed the CEO, the media wouldn't be talking about it all week. The media only talks about, nowadays, they only talk about their own psyops, basically. CIA psyops, which is basically all they do. So it's they have, the COVID psyop, and they have the January 6th psyop, and now they're talking about this, and they won't stop talking about it. I guarantee if it was just a random event, or at least I highly doubt if it was just a random event, like a real event that wasn't done by the deep state, they wouldn't be talking about it this much. I mean, they might feel obliged to mention it. They wouldn't be talking about it 24/7, especially when they know that the more attention it gets, the more people just are going to line up against CEOs. So, you know, the CIA doesn't necessarily mind turning people against CEOs. Again, like what they do in every country is they foment revolution. They turn regular people against whoever's running each country, partly by infiltrating the governments and making them suck and shitty so that people want to overthrow them, and also by, you know, various psyops, various other psyops. So yeah, that's their normal thing. They'd be happy enough to overthrow at least the, you know, some of the elites of this country, and then the real elites will probably still stay in power, but those are probably the ones that nobody ever even knows who they are. The elite financiers and whatnot, and deep state actors. So yeah, that's, I would say be careful about that. Don't get entrapped by a psyop. But yeah, I don't have much sympathy for CEOs, especially health insurance CEOs. So I'm definitely not going to run to their defense. So yeah, I guess this phone is just letting me go for a while, so that's pretty weird. I don't know what's going on with my phone. It's like it says that it's too full. I think it says my photos are too full for certain things, but yet it's letting me like record as if I have like no photos on my phone, because otherwise it would usually cut me off like way before now. It's been like 27 minutes. All right, well, anyway, take care, folks. Thanks for watching, and you know, yeah, stay safe, stay wary, stay mellow, and yeah, take care. I'll do another video